people that were here last time, would you, can you come to the table? Would you discuss with the rest of the people what we laid out for ground rules? Elon, you want to go?
Well, to start, we do not raise hands. We just kind of talk when people are finished, and we respect the ideas. And we respect people when they're talking. We do not interrupt.
You had a big old,
Did you want to add to the ground rules?
I was gonna say, wait for people to finish their thoughts.
Okay. So,
Oh, he had a big old pause.
can you all agree to that?
He's like, oh.
That's something that, can I get some kind of confirmation? Yes, you can agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I want to review the feedback from last time and then tell you a couple of things I noticed from watching the video. And then we'll get started. Here are a couple things that people wrote. Let's see. One was I went from being very confused to being confident in my knowledge of standard deviation. And then, how did you feel about the discussion? Felt like I could talk when I wanted to. I thought that was an important point to bring up. Then this one, what suggestions can you make to our group to improve our discussion? Have everyone talk a bit more even amount. So I think people felt like maybe it was, there were just a few people kind of doing all the work, other people. And then 4, what suggestions? Another one, this is the second one. Suggestion is have stuff to say for when you get to the table, so there isn't as much silence. And so I took that to mean that the students could prepare more, and then I think I also will take some responsibility. Perhaps, I could set you guys up to have prepared better. That was my intention with the warm-up around a tricky part of this calculation. Okay. Last thing, some noticings from the video is I did too much work. And nobody, in their feedback, gave me that feedback. So I'm going to be really intentional to kind of take a step back with sometimes of providing prompts to you. That'll help move the conversation forward. Yeah, really too much talking. Okay? All right, so I'd like us to begin with those responses that you wrote to the question. You could take those out. And I think we should have page 166 open. So let's take 10 seconds to get that transition. And we are set up so everybody here has a shoulder partner.
Can I take a piece of paper?
There's paper at the table, books. Anyone else need a book? Because we have an extra one here. Just so that's accessible, that's our text that we might reference, should you choose. Okay, so I see shoulder partners formed immediately. We got a good division. There's 2 shoulder partners, Carly and Carrie, and the 2 of you. Partner A, would you raise your hand so you know you've decided between the 2 of you who's going to start? So that's, you guys are set, you know who's partner A? I'm waiting for this side of the table. Who's going to be the first partner? Thank you. Thank you.
Wait a second.
Okay. You? We'll just go. We'll just skip every other person. So what I'd like you to do is do a listen and compare. Partner A, you're going to read a response to the tricky part of the calculation first. Partner B is going to listen, and then we'll switch. Okay, go ahead.
I said that,
bottom part is the sum and the average.
Should I go?
Because if you have something here, you're almost up to faster.
and also one more.
Okay. Now switch. Partner B, you.
It'd be pretty easy to miss this. Or just forget the squaring of the differences.
Square the root would be harder to attack one of those. And some people don't multiply.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. What was the same or different, be prepared to share one of your thoughts out. Go ahead.
It's a whole group discussion.
Wait,
you know, with your partners.
What was the same or different?
Yeah, what do you agree, how about this, what do you agree on so that you can share, bring it forward to the table?
That one.
Yeah.
Really great.
Square root is Okay, so hold that thought, I'm gonna give a little prompt and then I'm gonna back up and let you guys kind of drive the conversation from there. So right now, my feeling is this calculation probably feels like a bit of math magic. You know, like, here we are, we're following these steps, and we have yet to have a conversation that there's any rhyme or reason to those steps. So that prompt to get you started was to get you thinking about your noticings and wonderings of the calculation, so we can start justifying the steps, right? There's a purpose for each of those steps. There's a reason that standard deviation is calculated this way. And so I want to make sure, so at this point in time, what I want to do is invite you all to have a conversation about the steps and why they're happening. What's the purpose of them? What are your wonderings as we have them? So I'm going to be looking for those statements from you all and the questions you might have about it. Okay. Would someone like to start the conversation?
So, are we talking about? Sorry, are we talking about like what we noticed? What we were just talking
No,
about?
are we just supposed to, like, oh, step number one?
I said that it'd be easy to make a mistake if you got a big old number and you try to round it. And if you round it wrong, then we whole is wrong.
Wait, what are we rounding?
That's just one of the steps that you do wrong, like if you have a big number in one of the steps.
But at what point? I'm just a little confused.
At any point, sometimes you get a number with a whole lot of decimals. And you don't want to throw a whole lot of decimals in there.
Caleb, but you.
Oh, I'm looking at this specific situation, and I think the most that it goes is just
What's it?
0.25.
I said that you could easily make a mistake while squaring the numbers.
I said that as well.
I think that as well.
I just think in the last 3 steps, it's kind of more complicated than all the other things that you do.
Care if you explain why, please.
Well, sum of square, okay, sorry. The first out of the last 3 steps, I think that's just adding. And then, it's basically just the last step.
Can you remind us what that step is?
Oh my God.
Yeah, let's hear, I'll pass these out if you want to look at these again. They're also in the book. There's some of those, we're gonna probably work with those. So take one to start.
Is it?
What the heck are you giving us?
But where are the numbers?
What the heck is on the back?
There's no particular set.
Yes.
Oh,
God damn.
3.
Properly looked at the Harkness table.
Yeah, Carrie, profanity. I don't know.
Watch it.
You
it won't happen again.
They have you on video.
Oh God.
You're on the varsity spelling team, you should better.
You are?
The varsity Spanish.
So before we pass this out, I heard us starting to get at looking at some of the little details of the steps, and Carrie was talking about step 3. It'd be nice to hear some thoughts on what you think the purpose of squaring the numbers is. That's the justification, I'm not quite there.
Oh, no idea.
Oh, I don't need to raise my hand, whoops. Well, you're supposed to square that because you multiply, or not multiply, well, you multiply it by itself in, I think that's step number 3.
Step number 3 is the square.
No, step, oh my God.
Step 3 is when you
Square each difference.
square all of step 2's.
So,
No, not the, what?
Step number 3 is when you square all of step number 2.
Yeah, oh. No, it's not.
Carrie,
What are you talking about?
Carrie,
Here,
if
look
you
on
locate
the,
your eyes to the top of the page and press step 3, it says,
Square each
square each
difference.
difference.
Oh.
But he's puzzled, so can we?
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Try to
Oh,
dig
wait.
out. Good, what is?
Oh, I'm mixing up, okay, no, I was.
See, it's okay, Carrie, if you mess up.
Yeah, I really like that aha.
Oh, God.
We like to see you
Well, no,
struggle,
you
Gary.
just have to, wait. Okay, now I'm just really confused. Can you, read?
So can I please ask that we follow ground rules, right? And that we support what's going on right now, because it's really clear there's some puzzlement, right? But I haven't heard anyone try to reach out and like dig at what that puzzlement is.
What are you
Carrie,
confused?
what-
Yeah, that's great. No, can you just?
Ground rules. That was awesome, it was like too much now.
Can you read, say the question, please?
My question, yeah, sure. My question is, we're just on the cusp of trying to justify these steps, and I think you guys are focusing, well, I know you're focusing on step 3. What is the purpose of squaring each difference?
So that you get rid of,
Make them all positive, get rid of the
yeah.
Oh, we have,
Well, why can't we have the negative?
Because the negative will mess with it. The bad way.
But why? Because.
Ask
But
the
how?
math people.
Just because.
ask the math class.
We don't like negatives here.
Well, why don't we just do one with
Positive
negative numbers?
numbers.
So come from a place where there's a reason for everything. So explore that further. Why would we not want to have negatives? There's a reason for every step.
because it's about the distance from the mean, and so you can't have a -7 distance from the mean, because that just doesn't make any sense.
Can you elaborate
Just
on that,
like-
please?
Like going backwards it's like, so say like it's 7 away from, that's 7 like below the mean, you wouldn't say it's -7 away from the mean, you would say it's 7 numbers away from the mean. So if you make it positive, then it makes more sense.
I think I understood what he was saying.
Would you care to read those?
Well, I could repeat, I couldn't read words.
Okay. Or you could, I mean, it's kind of like I heard you say, I think it means.
No, I don't, like,
Go ahead.
uh-oh.
Or so what you're saying is, right, there's a couple, we've got these sentences.
No, never mind, now that I think about it, it makes less sense.
Okay.
You know what, Grant, I'm not sure that I understood your point.
Dude, you're saying it's like,
I have no idea.
Carrie, what do you not understand?
Well,
Good question.
you know, I didn't really understand any of it. Grant, could you repeat in a little more concise way?
in English?
So the first step is you find the difference between the number and the mean, and so we'll say like there's one number that's 7 numbers below whatever the mean is, and then one that's 7 above. You wouldn't say that the one that's 7 below is -7 away from the mean. You say it's 7 numbers away from the mean because.
Understand.
Then, I don't know.
That's a good point, Greg.
But if you said it's 7 numbers away from the mean, you can either take it as 7 numbers above or 7 numbers below, so you have to specify.
Yeah, that matters.
Well, it does. Because if
What
you
happens,
say
what
it's-
happens if you put negative numbers into this and you just leave out step number, well,
I want everyone to explore that. You have a sheet in front of you? Let's come up with a data set.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Let's come up with a data set. So, I want to try to make sure, we all have calculators, right? So let's explore that. That's a good question. What happens if, what was it again? Can you say it?
If we just left the negative numbers in, so that's taking out step 3, and that's taking out.
Okay, so let's do one that we've already done. I'm curious. Let's do set C. So, what's the first number there?
12.
12? Two 12s?
No, 12, 13,
12,
13.
Okay.
13, 14.
Whoops.
Alright,
So-
what is it?
13.
Put those numbers in. I know some of you have already done, not everybody. We already know the mean's 27. We're just gonna show that.
The mean's not 27.
20, I mean, I was writing the number 27. So we're doing these numbers. We know the mean is 20. Do what Carrie's proposing, explore that. What happens if you left the negatives in? And Carrie, are you proposing to skip, to just stop?
2 steps.
Which steps? Let's get them out again.
Number 3, and I think it's whenever you bring it back to step 4.
So skip the squaring and the square root.
Yeah.
So find the differences, then just average those, right? Okay, why don't you do that?
So,
Go ahead, feel free to ask the table, Kevin, if you're not sure.
Wait, so you just go straight from step 2 to step 5?
Yeah.
Wait, do we do
Caleb.
step 5?
Ask Carrie, he's got a clear.
Okay, you go step 2 to step 5.
So for step 2,
I'm
what
Where'd you
you
get
very
do
confused.
is you do.
No, so
number
do it,
numbers
except
here.
don't
This is what the
square
is.
it
20.
or square
So
it.
Yeah.
your method is going to be different.
So if you look at the other ones,
7, what is
at this point, you had to
7,
multiply by
minus 7,
So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do this.
7, and then we positive 7, so
Not do step 3.
Yeah, basically.
We don't need step 1, we can do step 3 and step 4, right?
I'll tell you when I get there.
Oh, I figured it out.
Enlighten us,
If
Caleb.
you keep them all negatives and positives and you add them all up, it's gonna be 0. Because they're all opposites, and then if you make them positive, then you'll actually get an answer. But if you leave them, it's just gonna be 0.
Well, but,
No, for this situation though.
yeah, but what happens if we used a data set that wasn't?
Go, do it.
Equal.
You didn't have.
Okay.
Explore that, use the data. I'll write the numbers down.
Okay, just pick a bunch of random numbers that preferably don't equal 0.
Give me 5 or 6
Not all
numbers.
of
13.
6,
Nine.
13, 9, 13. Of course, you guys would.
11.
Wow.
69.
18.
You
Say
would.
14.
I know.
In what?
22.
What's the, let's make it so the mean is in a decimal. So what's the mean of those numbers?
I don't know.
I can do
13.
it.
No, not
No.
not
Mean.
Oh.
Mean. I'll let you guys handle this. You seem like you know what you're
18.
doing. 22.
13.6.
Yeah,
Okay, so
exactly, it's 13.6.
we want to make it either 13 or 14. What should we do?
14.
I don't know.
Make it
13.
22.
22, make it 21.
Make it one number, that works?
I don't know.
Can we just affect the sum? Like, what would the sum have to be if the average were 13? No, the sum of the 5 numbers. If we wanted the average to be
It has to be
13.
65.
65. What is it right now?
68.
So we need to just get rid of 3. Let's make
Just change
Just
Just change one of them.
22
Okay.
to. Okay.
All right, so we got 10. Check to make sure that the mean is 13, and then do the idea with these numbers.
13.
Yeah, it's 13.
Moving this deep in there. What do you think? Keep going or?
That's only 5 monkeys.
It's only 5 numbers. Does the same thing happen? Does it come out to be
Wait,
0?
what's the
Because
mean 20?
that was an aha moment.
So,
Find the differences from the mean and then see, and then find the average. That was the proposal on the table.
Wait, no, wait, what?
Yeah, I was wrong.
What do you think?
It's -7.
I'm gonna-
We're forcing this method on you.
Yeah.
We're telling you that
And then
why
5.
that this is being measured, by spread, why is it?
It's still
Well,
0.
yeah, like, that this is measured, but in the end,
Oh, it's still 0.
Yeah.
no, wait, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's 7. Wait, maybe I did it wrong.
-4 plus -7 plus -3 plus 5 plus 9.
Did you forget to square it?
Oh,
Did you,
No?
yeah, no, we
It's
don't
not.
square it.
I got negative.
What are the differences?
Wait.
Let me get the differences out. Go ahead. How far, what's the difference for?
I got 0.
Well, I got 0.
I got 0.
No,
I got 1.
You're right.
I got 0.
Slide dog.
Caleb.
Ah, but yeah.
I got 0.
I got 0.
I got
No,
0.
it's that's why
no,
I
it's 0.
Yeah, I got
So what do you?
Caleb, this is some great thinking.
What's your conjecture? What's your conjecture right now? If you had to make a conjecture about that new method, what's your conjecture?
It doesn't work.
I'm confused.
It just.
Why?
Because
So is that, do I hear it always? Is it always gonna equal 0?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
last time then we're gonna change to a different subject. See if you can come up with your own data set that won't have the sum of the differences equal 0. Work with a partner,
I
turn and talk.
can't.
Turn and talk, turn and talk with your partner.
I'm not that.
Come up,
49.
come up with a data set you think will, will have, yeah, go ahead. Will have differences
Hey, man,
that don't add to 0.
Just put pi in there.
29.
And then we're gonna switch to the,
Oh, thank you.
Actually, no, that
Don't
was
add.
word.
79,
Wait.
74, 436.
Flex.
I don't think
Work.
we should.
Wash. 2.
Alex,
see if I can come up with a
And
data.
then,
Can you guys come up with a data set? I'm really curious what you can come up with.
don't add.
Of at least 5 numbers, at least 5 numbers.
I just don't think you can.
1,000.
Try one more. We've done one, let's try
like Aleph, Null, then a Google Plus.
reasonable numbers.
It's because
Wait, are you talking about like,
you're trying to
what's
find
the
the
word?
difference from the mean.
Talk with me.
There's a word for like the normal numbers that don't go on
Yeah,
forever.
what are numbers?
It's not integer. Is it integer? 12.
Caleb, I like your thinking
Wait,
once you have a
how about
conversation
the
with your partner.
No, it's like 2 squared and pi are not ones.
Dad, can you, what are we trying to do?
Yeah, rational and irrational numbers. Thank you, Mr. Clements. I don't think you can make these with rational numbers.
What do you guys do?
Mathematicians use a term called counterexample. They try to find a
Yeah, I
counterexample
know.
to disprove
Mhm.
their conjecture. So you can still agree with their conjecture, but you still want to try to.
No, I can't find one.
How do you know?
That's just the rules of math.
You gotta have a reason.
26.
Okay.
A mathematical reason.
I'm
I'm fine with you saying,
I can make one right
I'm
now.
fine with saying you can't find one. I want you
Let's
to
see.
have a reason why.
I don't think it's possible.
Dude, you are such an unhelpful partner. I've been throwing numbers at you.
Okay, let's see.
200.
Carly, you ready for this? This is gonna be.
Math.
I haven't even said anything. What is this?
Oh,
What is that?
26,
Are you
right?
making a micro?
Oh, why did I?
What?
Micro.
I didn't.
Making roads? Is that a highway?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
It's going under a bridge.
Oh, it's
Three.
Highway looks like that.
And it's an under.
Yeah, another 5.
So,
What?
Cause you pass under.
Nice, dude.
No way, I didn't know.
What's on the spectrum with like 12 kids? It's weird. That was such a
We're
wholesome
coming up on
movie.
that.
I think the dad
Wait, no, we
died.
still need lots of time. We still need lots of time.
No, you're good, no, you're
It's
good.
such a wholesome.
I don't
Do
know
we-
what I'm doing.
Dude, what? I don't know. I remember something.
I think it's
dying.
I really
That might
don't.
have been like
This
Bridge
was-
to Terabithia or something like that. I remember it was sad as hell.
No puppy Graham.
Really, dude?
Did you guys, you're just starting, Grant? Working with, okay, but you're doing women, so it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
All right, because she's already doing that. We wanna see if if we can get 5 or 6 different sets and it all happens.
Well, I don't know what to do.
Minus 21.
Oh, can you just explore, come up with another 5 numbers and see. Yeah.
I don't know how to find the mean or the average.
So 6 and 13.
No,
Dude,
How to
I'm,
find the mean is right there, man, remember?
you can't do it, it's
No,
not
it's not there.
doable.
How do you find them?
You did one.
Well,
It's not doable.
Oh, how do you got
You
it?
can't characterize it.
It's not doable, you can't do it.
Carrie
It's not doable.
Carrie just goes like.
It's not good work.
Fine.
This is not possible.
It's
There's a
not
reason?
how it works.
Yeah, there's gotta be a reason.
Oh, wait, let me
What's the
think, let me
reason?
think.
That's what,
I know,
you
like,
guys
the
are thinking about.
numbers you have, but I'm thinking real hard.
I don't know.
1, 2, 3,
For one cent.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's really stupid.
Oh, this is so
That's the worst
stupid.
set of numbers
This
you
is
could
so
think about.
stupid.
Gary,
Caleb,
give me a
Caleb.
set of numbers.
Great, what set of numbers should we do?
17,
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
21, 16, and
Oh,
7.
wait, what were they?
Have you
Oh
looked
my
at
God.
the second?
Okay, so if you take all these numbers and you add them up, and you divide them, and then you take each number and you minus what it was divided, and then you just add them up, of course they're gonna equal 0.
Why?
Because that's how
This is how
basic
that
addition
works.
and subtraction works.
Okay, now let's get.
It's a negative. Chris.
Alright, so,
Alright, wait, I have.
your enthusiasm and passion is like, I'm really loving this.
This is so dumb.
You got a minute, you got a minute, and then we're gonna bring it back together.
Dumb.
Should I just throw some numbers at you?
I wonder if you could make comments that are more productive.
This is quite ridiculous, Mr.
Well,
You're on the clock, you got a minute.
If you take a banana, and then you take away the banana, and then you give the banana back,
I get
it's
0.
gonna be the same as the banana that you had in the beginning. It's just a banana. This is so dumb.
We're gonna do one more thing.
No, not even close.
Put it down.
Literally,
She won't listen. I hate math.
That's 15.
whoever said they hated math needs to be banned
I got
from
some
math.
really weird numbers. I got like
Do it.
-6e minus
20
4.
seconds.
Why is
I got 100.
No, I see, I broke it.
Wow.
Did you use an irrational number?
I had them together and I
Hold
got.
it.
I got 14.
What was that number?
Wait, so you just divide it by the number of seconds, right? So add this together, you got 70.
I got.
Hey,
I
you
got.
shut up.
Okay.
Oh, hold on.
Yo, it's not my fault.
May I have all of your
Listen,
attention
my
again?
nightmares.
Whoa,
You try to
Carly.
kick me again, I'm gonna.
Guys,
Whoa.
I won. I want to take a break.
Thank you so much. That was.
What's up,
You made my brain
Actually started getting somewhere.
Brain break.
Okay.
I know.
Let's bring it back.
It should fit.
Let's bring it back for a full group.
I don't know.
Okay. So we have a lot of energy there, a lot of disequilibrium. Katie, you're trying to say something. I'm gonna invite you
Okay,
to start us off.
so adding all the positives together is gonna come up, well, for our